Welcome back to TMZ Sports. I'm your host, Mojo Mutati, and we're extra hyped today because we have the Garcia Twins joining the show. Nikki and Brie, ladies, so good to see you. Looking buff. How we doing?
You're doing good.
Here in Napa Valley, beautiful day.
Right?
Can't complain.
We get to talk to you. This is good.
Well, most important things first. Mateo, Birdie, and Buddy, how are they doing?
Oh
They're
my gosh,
so
they're
good.
Boys are wild.
Boys are very wild.
Birdie's sweet as can be.
She
but
is.
They're so great.
No, but they're so cute and great.
Ugh, they are.
The motherhood's the best, the absolute best.
Well, I've been following along. The videos, the content you guys have posted with the family has been absolutely incredible. Have they started wrestling yet? What's the wrestling situation like at home?
Buddy, he's a mini Bryan.
He's a mini Bryan. Like
is
since
crazy.
he came out of the womb,
Yeah.
it's wild to me.
The other day, he was like wrestling around and he like grabbed him like, nope, that's a guillotine. We're not going to do that to mommy. I'm like, gosh.
It's wild how naturally it comes in. Mateo's a very natural high flyer, like what he does on the couch and stuff. But I also see the like professional dancing side to him. But Buddy is all wrestler, like all.
I mean, he knows how to grab an arm and we
he
didn't even
does.
teach him.
Yeah.
I'm like, how?
Well, obviously, you guys have had tons of shows over the years. I think the kids might need their own show almost immediately because it's just wildly entertaining. But while we're on the topic of wrestling, let's start with that. Nikki, we saw some comments after Mercedes Monet's debut in AEW. You said you got the itch. Talk about that a little bit. I mean, obviously, you guys have families at home. That very much complicates the situation. You got busy schedules, but how's that itch these days?
You know, the itch is there for sure. I think that's the one thing that I realized I was telling Brie is right now with Mateo being a toddler, it would just be too hard for me to leave because even if you wrestle one day a week, it's all the travel that people don't realize that you do. And especially when you're up in NorCal, it's just not that easy. So I definitely have it in me. I know that itch isn't going away. I think it's hard to know where that would be because as you know, WWE, when that's your home, it's always your home, right? And but I think what we're fortunate is then we make all these great friends and they're wrestling everywhere. And so it's there. I love the work that a lot of the women are doing in all the places, I guess you could say, right?
For sure.
You know, territories. I'm like, what word am I looking for? What wrestling term? So I don't know. We'll see. I definitely though have maybe a long way to go. I am getting a lot stronger, but I like to wrestle like a powerhouse and I won't step in that ring till I know my body is ready to do so. So I am getting stronger. I was like checking my body fat and my mass and my muscle mass and all that the other day. And I was like, fuck yeah. Or wait, sorry. Heck yeah. I'm doing good. So we'll see. A long way to go, but we'll see.
Well, Brie, how's it been for you? I mean, obviously, Bryan is over there, AEW. The match that he just had.
I mean,
my goodness, what a barn. We actually just had Tony Khan on this week and we were talking all about it. But how's that feeling for you? I mean, you're still getting it every week in a way.
Honestly,
it's true. You know, I think what's been so fun is just to see Bryan living his dream in the way he wants to wrestle. You know, the way he puts his matches together, everything he does, I'm always in awe. When every match I see, I'm like, there's no way he can do better. And then the Wall Ospreay, I'm like, how do you do better than that, Bryan? And I think what's great is I'm the wife who's supporting. I always tell everyone, I'm like the stability at home so he can live the crazy lifestyle right now. But it's great. It makes me still feel like wrestling's a part of my life because I get to watch it every week and I get to see him in that ring and my kids love to wrestle with him. So that's really fun for me. But I was like, until Bryan hangs up his boots, I can't put my boots back on. I'm like, the kids, there's no way they can have mommy and daddy on the road all the time.
Didn't Saraya just call you out too?
Yeah, she called me out. I'm like, girl, we can take it anywhere. Let's go. But yeah, so it's been really fun and I'm so proud of him.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And of course, Saraya is going to call you out. Everybody just wants to see you ladies back in any way, shape, or form.
Yes.
That's one thing I want to talk about for a second, because pro wrestling has just been one chapter in your books, right? You guys have done an unbelievable amount of thing. And when you're wrestling for so long, it's very easy to be pigeonholed as just one thing, but you guys have been able to reinvent yourself time and time again. What advice would you give to the current wrestlers now on creating their own brands and setting themselves up for life after wrestling? Because I'm not sure there are better examples of this in the business than you two.
Oh,
Oh, thank you so much. Well, it's incredible because when we started, there was no social media for so long. So now with social media, and I'm seeing a lot of the women wrestlers do this, they're really expanding their brands on their own and just showing all the different talents they have. And, for Nikki and I, the one thing we always felt is that we really had to put full 100% concentration into wrestling. And until we felt satisfied and that we were conquering, then we started to branch out other things we loved as we were wrestling, which wine was one of them. And we knew we could not kind of spread ourselves too thin. We could dabble into some entrepreneurship stuff and still be on the road 5 days a week. What else?
Well, I would, for me, what I would say is to grow your brand, like you got to find what's authentic to you. And so Brie and I, farming and drinking wine was very authentic to us. And we were able to naturally put that in our brand and kind of do it without us realizing. And then we were like, we could capitalize off this. And starting very early on in our career as wrestlers, we knew that we weren't going to be able to take bumps forever. So we were like, what can we do, knowing that if this went away tomorrow, that we have something to fall back on? And we always had that in our heads about the fallback on. I mean, I remember being in the locker room and studying to get my real estate license because I wanted to have it just in case like something was to happen. And as we've become entrepreneurs, I've just have realized, and when people have reached out and asked me, I'm like, what is authentic to you? What can you grow right now from your brand that your company can own, and your IP, when you lose it, doesn't go with you? And I've seen like what a lot of people have done, which is smart. They put their real names in their bio. And I think that's smart to start to let your fans know who you really are, but also take advantage of the platform you have now and whatever it is you love. Like we didn't know how big Divas and Bellas was going to be, but you saw us drink a lot of wine and go to Napa a lot. So that became, for Brie and I, easy to become wine producers, but we worked hard at it. And we were really great about always integrating that like in ways that were very authentic and natural. So I would say that to wrestlers, have that backup plan, start to bring it into your character, whatever it is you can do that it can't be owned.
Well, speaking of backup plans, and again, that's incredible advice, and I hope everybody listens to that and then listens to it again about 200 more times. But hey, let's talk about the fellas and a possible backup plan here. What are the odds? Let's cut right to it. What are the odds we get Artem in a ring? What are the odds we get Bryan on a dance floor? When is this crossover coming?
I keep telling her, like, you really need to go do Dancing with the Stars. And I think you and Bryan both would be amazing
I think
at it.
Bryan would be so good. So Bryan doesn't drink, but let me tell you, at a wedding, he will get on that dance floor so quick and he'll make these certain faces. I don't even think he realized that, but I'm always like, you need to do Dancing with the Stars. He would do so great.
Yeah. I wonder, how do you think Artem would be as wrestler? I mean, we had Fandango, right? So maybe
he'd be the next Fandango.
I
think he could do it.
I honestly, like, if and when our reality show comes back, I've had ideas about getting Artem in the ring and like making him
like
do a
mean
match for
high
like
kick.
a charity event or something.
He'd have
a good high kick.
I need an Artem Fandango rivalry as soon as possible. That would just be way too entertaining. Fandango's such a pro, such a fun guy to be around. That would be the best ever. So thank you so much for putting that into the world. I hope people grab that and run with it.
Yeah, I know, right?
It'd be so good. They could literally do like a 2-minute just start it, but like a dance off.
Yeah.
Back and
Mojo.
forth.
Yeah.
No promises I don't crash the ring for that and insert myself into a dance off, because I have an affinity for breakdancing. So that's
so
up there. Ladies, you guys have a big weekend ahead, right? Actually, because this Saturday, Polaris celebrates the 4th annual International Female Ride Day, and you guys have partnered up for this. Please tell us about this.
Yes. So this day is all about celebrating women that ride and that also are a part of this incredible community of female power sports enthusiasts. And so Brie and I growing up in the desert, always going to the dunes, riding, whether it's our quads or whatever it may be, we've always kind of been in this community, but we've partnered up with Polaris because they're just doing incredible things with these power sports. And so Brie and I, we were recently in Arizona. They have Polaris has an outfitter over in Wickenburg. So they took us on this ride and it was with their RZR side by side. So we were in our own
Oh my gosh.
and we're going in this ride through the mountains and like in the creeks.
It's like
I-
red rocks and cactus.
We saw
Oh.
a gold mine and like one, you feel like such a badass, especially as a woman behind these things and like being able to do it on your own, but also just to enjoy the outdoors and see things that you can't go hike and see, where cars aren't allowed. Like you truly get into these places and you're just in awe of the beauty of like,
Right. And I think family and friends are constantly looking for something fun to do.
Yeah.
And I am not kidding, these outfitters that Polaris has across the nation. So you don't have to own one. You can actually go rent one and go on a really cool journey. But for families, and we were saying our girlfriends, because our girlfriends are all badasses. We're like, we
Yeah.
have to do this. But you get super dirty and then you're having lunch like out and you're looking. And all I could think about was like, I deserve an ice cold beer after this.
yeah.
Like I feel dirty. I
Yeah.
feel tough. I was like, we had so much fun.
It was such a blast.
Yeah.
Man, that's awesome to hear. You guys do so much for the community. You do so much for the other talent. You do so much for everything besides yourselves. So
Honestly.
I know y'all have an incredibly busy schedule. So thank you so much for taking the time to chat
Oh,
with us
thank you.
today.
Thank
This was
you.
awesome to see you guys again. I've missed my friends.
Oh,
I know
we
we
missed
missed you too.
We have to connect.
Absolutely.
Soon.